Swirl Bokeh for $15. This is a very interesting filter that simulates the swirly vortex-like bokeh of Petzval lenses. And if you've seen this kind of bokeh before, it swivels in a vortex-like form just around the center of the frame. And it creates this sort of dreamlike vortex-like effect. And with this little $15 filter, you might be able to get that look without getting a Petzval lens or a similar swirly bokeh sort of lens. This is a very fun attachment, but it does have its limitations and it does not work with every lens with every focal length. So in this video, you'll find out what those limitations are, how you will be able to get this vortex-like look using this $15 filter, and whether this is something you may want to pick up to play around with, because it's actually very fun to get a different look out of your regular lenses. I got this by myself, not sponsored at all. I was browsing on AliExpress and I found this and I figured I'll buy it, just try it and test it out. It was fairly inexpensive. I'll be leaving a link in the description below. It's not an affiliate link, not sponsored whatsoever, if you wanted to just check it out. So this is what it looks like. It's not like your traditional lens filter in that it's not like this. It's actually, there's this little filter here and there's this little cylinder. There's no lens in front here, just the one lens here in the back right there. So it's a little bit like a cylindrical tube with a glass component right at the bottom of it. So this filter is actually 49 mil. So if you have a lens with a filter thread size of 49 mil, this will work just right. They do sell it with different filter thread sizes. So I got one with this. This is an 82 mil filter thread size. And you're able to attach this to the actual filter this way, like so. And now you're able to attach this part to a lens like so. And once you attach it, it looks like this little small cylinder just sticks out of the front element of your lens. And I got the biggest size because I can just use step-up filters to be able to adapt it to any of the lenses I have. So the quality is fairly straightforward, very basic. This is made of aluminum metal, not plastic, which is great. And yeah, this is all there is. The package was just this little small plastic bag, so super basic, no frills. The bokeh looks very nice and very swirly when you get it to work. When it does add a lot of very nice character to your traditional lenses by adding that swirly bokeh in the background. Depending on what lenses you're using and the type of backgrounds that you have, the quality of that or the strength of that vortex-like bokeh might differ. Another thing to note is that for best results, you want to have your subject frame in the middle or as close to the center of the frame as possible. The quality of your background is going to matter a lot in whether you're able to get that swirly effect. So for example, a background like this, it doesn't work. You need to either have a lot of little lights that will create that bokeh ball in the background, or you have trees or greenery in the background, because trees and greenery, once the light hits it, it gives you a lot of bokeh balls, pockets of light that can help enhance that vortex-like background blur. Another thing with this filter is that autofocus still works when using it, so that's a good thing. So you will be getting quite a bit of vignetting with this, and I think that is part of the character of this filter. In certain instances, you'll be getting a vignette that is literally just a circle, and in that case, it won't be usable, but I'll be going over certain conditions that you can meet in order to maximize the usability of this while reducing vignette and make it a little bit more usable. So the vignette is going to depend on the physical length of your lens, your focal length, as well as your aperture. So this doesn't quite work with zoom lenses. It works best with prime lenses, especially lenses that are a little bit shorter in length. I've tried this with a Viltrox 50mm and a 85mm. This is an 85mm by Case, which is a pretty interesting lens, I have to say. Link in the description below to these lenses if you want to check them out. The manufacturer says that it works with anything focal lengths between 35 to 50 mil. I wasn't able to try anything below 50 because I don't have a prime, a 24 or 35 prime, only telephoto zoom lenses that hit that range. I do have to say that 58 mil was not the max in that higher end because I was able to use this 85 mil lens. A little bit more on that in just a bit. In order for this to work, the recommended aperture to use is anywhere between f1.4 to f2. You might be able to get some results with an f4 or an f2.8, but the higher you go in the aperture, the less of an effect you're going to be able to get. And that's also because you're going to have less background blur as you go higher in that aperture number. So it works best with fast primes wide open. So on the Viltrox 50mm f1.8 paired with the Sony a7 IV, I actually have to turn the camera and switch it to crop mode or APS-C mode in order for that adapter to work. There was just a lot of vignetting and it was just unusable when I had it in full frame mode, and converting it to Super 35 APS-C mode effectively turned this 50mm to about 75mm in focal length of a 35mm equivalent. So depending on the 50mm that you use, maybe if it's a little bit shorter, you might be able to use it in full frame mode. I'm not 100% sure, but if it doesn't work and you have a lot of vignetting, then you can switch it to crop mode and see if that helps out. On the Case 85mm f1.4, this I was able to use in full frame mode because it's a longer focal length, 85mm. I'm not sure the exact physics of how that works, but yeah, full frame worked fine with this lens. And the best results that I got was using it wide open at f1.4 to about f2.2 or f2.4. By f4 and f6, the vignetting was just too extreme to the point that I was just getting a complete circle right there and just not usable at all. Another interesting thing too is that with this 85mm in APS-C mode, vignetting improved even after about f4.5. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind. And I do think that with that telephoto compression, you're able to get a little bit more of an enhanced swirly look in portraits, and that would probably just be the best use case scenario for this kind of filter. Overall, this is a very interesting lens filter that you can play around with. Super inexpensive. It might take a few weeks for you to get it. And as long as you know its limitations and play around and test it out with the different lenses that you have and figure out what the best settings are, you might be able to get some pretty unique looking photos out of your ordinary looking lenses. And if you have an APS-C camera, you might not have many issues with vignetting, but if you're using a full frame camera, it might be helpful to switch that to 35mm or APS-C crop mode to try to get this to work and reduce that vignetting. So anyways, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments below if there are any creative filters that you're currently loving and using. I would love to check them out. And if you're still around, here are a couple more videos you could watch next, and I'll see you there.